Hi, welcome to our podcast called Spitting Tea and Spilling Facts with me, your host, and my bestie, Daniela. Say hi. Who are you?
I'm Daniela. I'm a business student who's been dragged into this against my will.
All right. So, Daniela, tell me what you know about the difference between civil rights and civil liberties. And let's talk about it.
The difference that I know is just between the two words. The first two words are the only difference between those rights.
For real. So, let me tell you. Civil rights. Those are going to be the rights, like the human rights, that we have as Americans. Which?
We?
Yeah.
Who is we?
Which I have as an American.
Right.
To, like, it's what they have to do. Like, they don't have a choice.
Like voting?
No, like what the government has to do.
Okay.
It's so, they have to step in and do this or they'll get in trouble. And then, so an example could be like, you're not letting black kids go to this school, we're going to have to step in and make that, okay, which is, do the rules.
Okay.
Okay. And then so, the liberties, those are going to be the ones that, like, the government can't do. So, rights are going to be what the government should do and can do and does do. And liberties are what the government can't do and what they have to keep their hands off of. Like, they can't go, they can't be like... So, for example, just because Joe Biden is a Christian...
Okay.
doesn't mean that he can go around America and be like, let's all pray, or, like, let's all go to church, or, like, let's all participate in Christianity.
Like the Spanish did.
Yeah.
To the Aztec.
Yes, exactly. So he can't be doing that. Like, he can't intervene with whatever he thinks is right just because he's a Christian. And then it's like, also, there's, like, you can't intervene in a protest because if they're peacefully protesting because of the, the right to peacefully protest, you can't go and, like, stop them. So that's, like, liberties is where, the government can't touch you. And then rights are going to be where the government has to intervene. Okay. So, next I'm going to talk to you about, like, how some, like, things, like, acts and orders, executive orders, and, like, Supreme Court decisions, like, there have been a lot of them made regarding civil rights and civil liberties, and a lot of them have actually, like, contributed more towards, like, anti-equality than they have to equality. So, which would you like to hear first? Would you like to hear which ones promoted equality or which ones promoted inequality?
Let's hear which ones promoted equality.
Okay. So we'll start off, nice.
Nice and good.
So it's the first one will be the Civil Rights Act. You know about the Civil Rights Act. It made, racial and sex and gender discrimination illegal in the U.S. and, like, segregation and stuff.
Right.
And then, so that would be a right. Because it, it forces the government to, go in and provide that equal treatment to the people. and then there's going to be the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Mm-hmm.
And that was passed in 1990, and it was for... So it basically just prohibits discrimination based on disability in, situations such as work. Also, that's why you have to have an elevator, like, everywhere, and, like, a ramp if you have, like, a building.
Right, yeah, like
that
when I
has
got my
stairs.
leg surgery and couldn't walk upstairs.
Yeah.
And they still didn't give me the elevator pass.
That's gonna be thanks to the Disabilities Act of 1990.
Well, I'm not disabled. I just had surgery, but
Oh.
okay, yeah.
Never mind. Well, yeah. Anyways, so then comes around 2012.
Oh.
Do you know what happened in 2012?
There's a very famous Josh Hutcherson edit that was made that year.
No. So that's gonna be when President Obama
Oh, yes, we love him.
passed the DACA Act.
Oh, the DACA is the Dreamers thing, right?
Well, yeah. So Dreamers is basically, my understanding of it is that the Dreamers are the...
I know a little bit about that.
I learned about it in my sociology class.
It's the undocumented workers who can work in America with just a work visa and also reside there as long as they have a job.
Yes. Yeah, and so with the DACA, it's gonna be
Liberty?
no, not Liberty. It's gonna be the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is what that stands for.
I never knew what that stood for.
Okay, so, and it means that, like, it's kids who, like, they don't have to worry about getting, like, arrested or deported or anything like that, because their parents are the ones who, like, brought them along on the journey, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, they...
But illegally, that's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, they don't have to face any of the repercussions.
Because it wasn't their fault.
Because it wasn't their fault. It was, like, their parents were... Yeah, so it allows for the kids to be there to, stay in America basically, like, forever and be able to work and stuff and go to school as long as they, like, renew their DACA thing.
Right, so just like the permanent resident card that I have.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Also, I think for the Dreamers, the way you can get deported is if you commit a crime. I think that's, like, the one exception.
I'll have to do more research on the Dreamers thing.
Right.
So the next, there's more. So for equality, I'm still talking about equality. So Brown versus the Board of Education, famous Supreme Court case. You know what it is?
I've heard of it before, but I always mix it up with another one, so if you could kindly explain.
All right, so Brown versus the Board of Education, that is where the,
I think I have a guess, actually.
All right.
Can I say my guess?
Go ahead and guess.
Is it the one where... Oh, wait, no, I feel like I'm mixing it up. It's either... Yeah, no, okay.
It is for equality.
For equality, it's to end segregation in schools?
To end segregation in schools. So, yeah, it just, like, it establishes that racial segregation in schools is unconstitutional. And then there's going to be Loving versus Virginia of 1967. Do you know what that is?
No, I've never heard of that one.
Oh my gosh. So, senior year, I watched this really, like, sad movie.
Oh, God.
That was about this Supreme Court case. And it was basically about, like, this biracial couple in Virginia, I think. And they wanted to get married, but what's it called? Biracial marriage? Interracial marriage.
Interracial, yeah.
Was not legal in Virginia.
Oh.
It was illegal. It was legal in like the next state over. So they go over there, and they get married in that state, and then they
Move back.
go back to Virginia, and then they're married. But then the people, the law finds
Government?
out, the government, I guess, the police finds out, and then goes and like arrests them and stuff like that, because they're not supposed to be married in Virginia or something like that. But so they took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decided that it shouldn't be up to the states whether interracial marriage was legal or not. Like, it had to be a whole American type of thing.
Okay. Did that case go to the Supreme Court?
Kiss?
Did that case go to the Supreme Court?
Yeah. The Loving versus Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah. That's a Supreme Case Court. So Loving is the last name of the couple who was married.
Mm-hmm.
And Virginia is Virginia.
The state of Virginia.
And it got passed in the Supreme Court that that it should be legal in all of America.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to talk to you about like the things that were passed by our lovely, awesome, amazing American government that were actually anti-inequality.
Right.
Or, just
not for the people.
Anti-inequality. Yeah, exactly. So there's, we're going like way back to the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they basically just kicked Chinese people. Well, no. Chinese people just couldn't come in here for like a very, very long time at all. Like, there was no exceptions.
Right. Kind of racist.
It was a little bit racist, don't you think? Don't you think that like America is rooted in racism?
That's what it was built on.
For real. And then, let me talk to you real quick about Plessy versus Ferguson. Now, earlier when I was, talking about it, you got very excited. Is that because you know what this is?
It's another case that I've heard, but like I said, I mix up a lot of these cases because I am not a law major.
So, have you ever heard of the term separate but
Oh,
equal?
yeah, separate but equal. That's what it is.
Yeah, so this is the separate but equal one. So, obviously, this is bad.
Yeah.
So, America was like, okay, so we're going to make it so that, black people and white people are segregated, but that they're equal, even though they weren't equal. And
Like having their own bathrooms, but they had to be separated.
Yeah, which was segregation, which was, racist, which was not equal, not separate but equal, not, like, everything about that was bad. That's why it was, like, considered anti-equality.
It was the one that people refer to as, like, made racism a little bit more lawful, right?
Yeah.
Made segregation, like, a little bit more legal than it should be.
Especially in like, this is taking place in, like, the Jim Crow era.
Oh, yeah.
Where, they had just...
Jim Crow laws, I've heard of that.
Yeah, like, so freed slaves had just recently, been freed from slavery. And
Thanks
so,
to Mr. Abraham Lincoln.
For real. And so, everybody was around just, like, trying to be racist.
Oh.
Towards these people, because they were just like, you should be a slave. You're not an actual person. And so back in that time, they made Plessy versus Ferguson because it was a very racist time. And then we're going to go to 2015 in the Defensive Marriage Act. And also the 2015 Obergefell versus Hodges. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Supreme Court case. So those two feed into each other. That's why they're in the same year. I believe that the Defensive Marriage Act came first, which is the anti-equality one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically it banned so it defined in the government, like they wrote it down this way, that marriage was the union of one man and one woman.
Oh yeah,
And so that was like a law that they had passed in 2015. But then these people, obviously, they want to get married, and so they're like, what the heck? So they take it to the Supreme Court, and so they just said, the Supreme Court said that it's that LGBTQ plus people's right to marry is protected under the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clause, because because they were trying to figure out if the word sex used in the Constitution was like gender, or if it was like the sex that you were attracted to.
Oh, okay. So orientation versus gender.
I guess so. They were just like sex, and it's just like, what does that mean? And it just took a really long time and a lot of banter back and forth trying to figure out, like, you know, is this protected or not by the Constitution? That's gonna wrap up my time here.
Right.
On this here little podcast episode with my guest, star, Miss Daniela. Today we covered civil rights, civil liberties, and equality laws. Did you learn something today, Daniela?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
You feel very knowledgeable about the government now?
No.
Oh.
There's so much to learn still.
There really is. But that's why we made this. To educate the public. All right. Thank you for listening. Bye now.